Well, yeehaw, Doug Pagitt Radio, broadcasting live on a special Friday edition. It's November 16th. That's it's already the day after the middle of the month of November, which I think is a big deal. Doesn't it seem like this whole fall is flying by?
Yeah.
It does to me.
Winter now. We had snow.
Well, this is Doug Pagitt. That voice you hear there is Victoria Lynn, the sidekick here on the radio program. Hi, Victoria.
Hi, Doug.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are
Great.
you?
I am great. I am still, I got to tell you, basking in the glow of my Sunday.
Yes?
I had a spectacular Sunday.
Tell us about
And
it.
it's Friday now, and I was out of town this week, so we've put
That's
off
a
the show
long
because I have
bask.
two great guests on today. A woman named Sarah Lefton that we're going to talk to does a thing called Godcast, and there's no O in God. They're Jews.
Mhm.
They do this
Because that would be defaming.
I guess we're going to
to
ask her
put-
about that.
yeah.
What is it with the O?
Yeah.
How many people skip the O? Yeah, I think it would be, it's an honoring way to never say the name of God. But anyway, they do this really, they're really progressive Jews, really interesting ideas, and they put out videos and music, and it's to me sounds like schoolhouse rock for adults and for kids, and about Torah and everything. So anyway, she's going to be so interesting. And then our mutual friend, my friend, your former pastor. Oh, this isn't awkward for
No.
you, be having the two of us on here
No.
together.
He really doesn't. He didn't know me.
Well, I hope it's not awkward for him then.
No.
But his name is Ephraim Smith, and Ephraim has written a book called The Post-Black and Post-White Church. And so we're going to talk about that.
Should be great.
A little racial conversation around religion, spirituality, and churches. Because you and I, we have families that are mixed, two
Mixed
separate
up.
families. We're not from the same
Mhm.
family. But you have children that come from different ethnic backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
I personally not a big fan of race as the word.
Well, it's a social construct.
Yeah,
so
when we say
it's-
race, it sort of seems like that's such a difference. But anyway, you have a son from India and a daughter from Liberia, and I have two sons whose parents originate from Mexico. So my children are how do they refer to it? They're Hispanic. What do they say when someone's white? Caucasian Hispanic.
Yeah.
Because they do all this funny stuff about this.
Which box you check?
Which
on
box?
the-
It's so confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very.
is it my genetics that I'm supposed to be talking about, or my culture that I'm talking about? We'll get into this with Ephraim Smith and his
Yes.
post-black and post-white church. So he's going to be on in about an hour from now, and in a half an hour we're going to chat with our newest Jewish rabbi friend. I don't even think Sarah's a rabbi though, actually, but she hangs around rabbis, and she's got
Well-
them all to do these little introductions to books of the First
Perhaps
Testament.
she can be our honorary.
She could be our
rabbi.
she could be our rabbi.
We could pass out these kinds of titles to
We
people.
totally could.
I mean,
We
Doug
can give
Pagitt
people-
Radio.
Yeah, we can give people their own titles, their own places in the world. In fact, just on Monday, I was with a bishop
Oh,
of
you
the
were?
Episcopal Church of the Washington D.C. diocese. My friend Bishop Mary Ann.
Oh.
Her last name is Buddy. She's terrific, and she decided to go by Bishop Mary Ann instead of Bishop Buddy. Whatever, you know.
Please have her on so I can call.
should
just
I?
so I can call her Bishop Buddy.
You know what? Let's make her the official bishop of Doug Pagitt Radio.
Yeah.
That's great. That's a terrific idea. And in this segment, our opening segment, Victoria is going to be unleashing a new segment to the show called Victoria's Secret. Last week, somehow I was listening. I don't know what I was listening to, something or watching something, probably some softcore porn on on a TV commercial about Victoria's Secret, and thought of you. No, no, but it sort of dawned on me that
please keep
Victoria's
me out of
that Victoria's Secret, that the name of that brand of undergarment and magazines sent
Yep.
into the homes of waiting men.
It's the name of Queens and
Yeah.
lingerie.
Yes, is like Victoria's, the possessive
bookends.
secret, the secret that Victoria keeps. And I thought, well, the radio show has our very own Victoria. We should have a Victoria's Secret.
Absolutely.
So we're going to have little segments, and Victoria's going to bring us secrets of life and secrets of writing. And today the secret's going to be the secret of
Sidekicking.
how to be a sidekick. This the secret of being the world's greatest sidekick. So anyway, a very full show, and this has been a great week. I got to be in Washington D.C. and then Sunday night, previous Sunday night was at the Bruce Springsteen concert, which for some, it was like middle-aged white men's
That was the demographic.
club. It
Yeah.
was perfect for us. Oh, the old guy next to me, the old guy down in the front, the row in front. We were just like, I think my voice, does my voice sound a little, does it sound a
Yeah.
little weakened?
It's a little raspier.
I was screaming lyrics for 3 solid hours. That concert went 3 hours, and it was
It's a long time for the old guys.
all
I'll
of us.
yell, old guys.
I mean, first of all, not to take a bathroom break in that amount of time was a big deal. To go 3 solid hours.
that alone.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
So
you
what
know,
do,
with the
what do middle-aged
enlarging.
guys wear to Bruce
Oh,
Springsteen
everybody!
concert?
See, that's a great. Every one of us. All. I brought my daughter along. She didn't understand it. She's 22, and she's like, yeah. Because I walked out, and I was I was born again, and I'm like, now do you get it? She's like, not so much.
No.
Oh, I feel like just
But what
a
did
total
they wear? You wear black t-shirts?
failure of a musical
Oh,
father.
really? You
Um,
haven't impressed your love of Bruce Springsteen?
Well, I did. That's why she went, and then I thought now she's going to taste of the glory.
But it didn't work.
The Apostle Paul has this phrase, which I don't care for much, but now I understand why he would say it, that if someone has tasted of the Spirit and then rejects, well, then they're without hope. It's kind of what I feel like. You go to that,
Michonne out.
she's into the outer darkness of radio and in musical hell. Oh, no, it was so great. I thought about what I wore, but not so much to like fit in or look right, but I knew I would have to layer.
Yeah.
Because it was cold going in, and I was going to start sweating and taking my shirt off and everything. But
So practically, you had to how to get through and be comfortable and happy.
yes,
for
and
this
the big
experience.
question for any concert goers: do you wear previous concert swag?
Yes.
Which I didn't. I can't bring myself to do that.
No,
I can't wear any.
either.
I can't wear any like logo stuff from races that I've been in. It's hard to even run in that stuff.
Can you wear it
It just feels funny
as
to me.
pajamas?
Yeah, I can wear it if I'm not in
Yeah.
public or something.
All that stuff is relegated to pajama wear for me.
Yeah, in my house.
Yeah,
I can wear it in.
I can leave. Yeah, but
yeah,
I
at
can't.
home.
I have to change my shirt.
Yeah,
before I go out.
but there were people who clearly don't have that rule. They were wearing concert T-shirts from previous times, but it was just anyway. If you're into Bruce Springsteen at all, and you can get to this Wrecking Ball tour, they craft each one of these tours, each concert, with a particular intention and goal and everything. And this one, to my sensibilities, was perfect. It was just crafted and told a story of 30 years of the music of Bruce Springsteen, all through the lens of this Wrecking Ball tour, which is about the shenanigans and the thieves and the criminals and the liars and the cheaters who brought our financial system to the ground.
Well, I think the album is great.
Yeah, and he took all of these songs that he's written over 30 years that were about that same topic
and
from this album and
bunched
used
it.
those songs.
Oh,
So,
great.
there were 27 songs that he did in this, and some of them were long, they were long versions of these songs and he was walking around like a preacher. It was just great. I wrote a little blog post about it and called "Why Jesus Totally Would Have Dug Last Night."
Oh yeah, I read that.
Yeah.
It was pretty good.
So anyway, it was. I had a terrific week. How was your week?
It was good, but first I've noticed that you shaved.
Oh, I did shave. Yes, thank you
It's
for outing me.
supposed to be No Shave-ember.
Well, I know. And
You called it,
I
and you've broken your own.
Look, just because somebody comes up with an idea. Yeah, I did. I was supposed to go all month, and I went 13 days because when I was in Washington, D.C., I was part of this documentary that was being filmed, and I didn't really factor that in.
Oh.
And so I was going to be on just me on this camera, being filmed in this
didn't wanna look
documentary
like
about changing
Shaggy
spirituality.
from
I looked like
Scooby-Doo.
a crazy man who
You
doesn't know
look
how
like
to care for
Shaggy.
himself.
You looked extremely like Shaggy.
Yeah, and
Like you should be
I
solving
and
a
I
ghost
panicked.
mystery.
I will tell you, I just panicked.
And you just had to take it up. You
Yeah.
didn't shave your chin though, so is that your?
Well, I've had the little, I call it the exclamation point.
Well, just
I
because
think
you
it
fell
just puts an
off.
exclamation point in everything I say. It's just a little. No, I left that because.
I'm always tempted to kind of grab on.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
and just
especially
shut
if
up,
you're being
stop talking.
If you're being
Really Doug like.
Yeah.
Yeah, just pull on
I
it.
just want to say, come on, you.
Yeah, so I did leave that because I feel like that's part of the.
You've fallen off the shave wagon. Fine. That doesn't mean you have to stay in that place. You don't have to continue to keep shaving. You can let it grow again. It's only the middle of November.
That's true. I don't think there's anything of which my presentation of myself is going to be captured for other
Posterity.
times, and then I'm going to be
You have
like,
to
oh,
worry that you
what
look
was
like
I
a
doing?
homeless
Looking
person.
like a I was like an unkept homeless person.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't even. I was like, it was looking. It was not looking. It was not looking good.
Like somebody who didn't even shave in the library bathroom.
That's right. That's right.
Types.
But I did feel I did feel guilty about it, and I know it was just a couple days ago, and I
You
know I'm
felt
going to get.
guilty about that.
I did.
Of
I
all the
don't have
things
much
you
of a
don't
conscience.
feel guilty
No,
about.
no.
But that was a
Well, yeah, because I had asked other people to join in
yeah,
this in
it's
the
a
same thing.
group event.
Yeah. Yeah, and
And
then I
you as
bailed
the
out.
leader
I'm a
have-
quitter. I was evil Knievel bailing out over the
Yeah.
Snake River Canyon. Yeah, brought up all that childhood, all
Shame.
that childhood fear. But we don't have to live like that. We can be
No.
people that have a greater hope.
Yes.
You know?
You can.
Quitters alike. This is like radio for quitters. Okay, quitter, you can make it. You can do it again. All right, Victoria's Secret. Let's talk about let's talk about the Victoria's Secret. So I had to come up with a Victoria's Secret theme song. Victoria's Secret. All right, Victoria. It's really got that
It's got a
Victoria's
bump
Secret
there.
kind of
Yeah.
bump to it, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it does.
I should play that when Ephraim comes on because we're going to talk a little hip hop.
You could try that out. Good luck with that.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. All right, so Victoria's Secret is all the secrets of Victoria's life. Victoria is a writer, a poet, a teacher, a radio show sidekick, a mother, a wife. What else do you do? A runner,
Laundry.
a
I do a lot of laundry and driving people around.
a chauffeur, and a
and a cook.
cook and a maid. All right, so we could get any of these things.
Yep, any
All
of
right.
it. So I was thinking about my philosophy that I've developed to trying to be a good sidekick. Because I've only been doing this so long, so I'm still figuring it out.
Yeah, but
as I
you're
go.
maybe
What is this, week 5 or 6?
5 or
I've
6 or
actually
7,
done
yes,
it, 'cause
yeah.
there were a couple, 1 or 2,
yes
where
that I was
you were
that I was
on the
bad
road.
About it.
Yes, but I listened faithfully.
Oh, you did.
I did.
Yeah.
Of course I did.
And did you feel like your skills are indeed needed?
Oh,
When I was on the road having to
you're
do
really
these by
gonna ask-
myself?
well, I miss being on the show.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I like it a lot, and it's really fun. It's kind of a highlight in my week. But no, I'm not a super confident person
Oh.
in general.
Mm-hmm.
So I would tend to think the opposite.
Oh, like, see, the show is fine. They don't need
Yeah,
me. Who needs me?
I
now?
actually struggled a little bit that first week back internally.
Oh, really?
Like, especially you and Carla were like, I feel like you were like the teenagers on the 10 speeds, speeding down the road, and I was on my little trike trying to catch up.
Trying to keep. Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I actually had to engage
Well,
in
that's good. We can
inward.
keep you really wanting this, and making sure that you feel a little off and
Well,
unappreciated, so you work a little harder.
that would
kind of thing.
You think I don't
Rules
work
of
hard?
manipulation. No, I
I
just want to
always
make
work
sure
hard.
you keep
And
working
that's
hard.
not going to be a big motivator to me. That's going to, if anything, I would.
Oh,
I'm not motivated by external.
you're not motivated by the possibility of failure. What does motivate? See, it's good to know with everyone that the one knows in life. Like, what's their
does
key
motivate
motivation?
me.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to think about, maybe that'll be my secret
Okay.
next week. But so here I was a couple weeks ago. Carla was on, and I was feeling insecure, quite insecure actually, as
Mm-hmm.
a sidekick, and I started to develop this philosophy to try to help bolster me
Oh,
during the show.
yeah, it's
it
an
was a
internal talking
private-
points.
It was a private act of
Oh,
courage, invisible to anyone else.
wow.
Because I was like, oh, they don't need me. They just can go off in their, political rant.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, no, I'm like ketchup.
Oh,
I'm-
Victoria's Secret. Be the condiment.
Be the condiment. Like, you wouldn't eat a bowl of ketchup. Most people wouldn't. Maybe Garrison Keillor would. I don't know, because he has that ketchup commercial on his.
Trying to think if I know anyone who
Like-
would just enjoy a bowl of ketchup. I don't think so.
Let's hope. Let's be glad that we don't have those friends,
mhm.
but there might be.
Yes, that's true. There probably are
there
people.
might-
We just haven't met
There
them
might
yet.
be people, but usually most of us enjoy ketchup in small doses.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, your guests, we can push the metaphor, right? Your guests are like the hamburger If you don't have a guest, maybe you have to be the hot dog and the bun.
I do.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm hot dogging it. Now I'm hot dogging it without a guest. I see.
Sometimes.
I see.
But you're always the bun, right? You hold everything together.
I'm the bun.
Always,
Okay.
because you keep everything together in this gluteny goodness.
Oh, I see. I see. And
Wrapped
some people are
around
just gluten
everything.
intolerant, and that's why the show
Well,
rubs them the wrong way.
it could be a corn-based or gluten-free
Oh,
bun.
nice.
And it, depending upon the guest, whether it's a bison.
We should start introducing it
burger.
that way. This is going to be a gluten-free segment of the radio show. And
We
this
have
one's
the
gonna be
veggie burger kind of guest today.
so we're going to go gluten-free with this one.
This is hand-pulled pork.
It's very, very bland. Okay, so your secret is know your place in the...
Well, or just kind of embrace who you are, I guess, in a way, and that everybody has something to offer.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had to tell myself that during the show. It's hard. Like if I start to get insecure and feel really unconfident, I'll just shut down.
Oh.
Really, that's my mode, and like become very aloof. I'll appear aloof or like, oh, I don't really care, and really that's just me being
I see.
super insecure.
Mm-hmm.
So instead, I was brave. And I was thinking about this too in terms of our conversation last week about empathy, because you were talking about or 2 weeks ago maybe, wanting to be empathetic to the people who
made such a bad choice for who they voted for president.
who were feeling disempowered perhaps by the election. And empathy is something that, like, some people are wired to maybe be athletes or do things.
Nice.
I'm not really so much, but I am wired to be empathetic. Like, it's not a hard thing for me.
Isn't that interesting?
It doesn't mean I don't cultivate it, because I do,
Right.
but it's not hard for me. But courage is hard for me. Like, I'm not really wired to be it doesn't come really naturally to me. So I was thinking about that last week. Like, that's not as big of a deal for me to say I was feeling empathy or I experienced a sense of empathy. Like, that's not a
that came that came with the package.
Or kind of. Yeah, I'm already kind of wired to be that way. But to engage in small acts of courage, or to say, oh, I am worthwhile, I have something to contribute in my condiment style, is a big deal. And it was not necessarily visible to everybody all the time. So I was thinking about all the ways that all of us have certain kinds of things we want to develop.
Well, I think, on a broader scope, I think what's interesting about this is many organizations or religious traditions or self-help kinds of practices don't often enough recognize what comes naturally to some people and what's more work for others.
Yeah.
So you can be in a whole system where the highest value is encouraged as being like say to be empathetic, or to be reflective, or to be the opposite of that, to be sort of outgoing and to be bold and serving. And systems can make that seem like and sound like that's a real accomplishment for some people,
really
that
rewarding.
comes really naturally.
Right.
And for other people, they have to work really hard at it.
Yeah.
So it's funny, because in the religious traditions, people will talk about these spiritual disciplines.
Yes.
And I've been suspicious my whole life of knowing about in my life, since I've known about those things, that really what they mean by spiritual disciplines is this is a community or a tradition or a way of spirituality for whom those things come naturally. And they call them discipline, but someone doesn't have to work hard at it. They can work comfortably at it. Then other people come in and it seems like it's really a big deal. So they can venerate people for whom that stuff comes naturally. Right? They can be like, oh, you just do such a great job of spending time alone and really contemplating and really considering. And the person just finds that as rewarding as, other people would find just talking and jabbering and all the rest.
To me.
But it's really common, isn't it? And I think across spirituality, especially in Christianity, you have all these different streams that are built around these kinds of impulses that come most naturally to people. And they get turned into something that's an expectation on someone else to be more like a person for whom that comes naturally. And I don't think you can ever have the same experience when you're working at something as the person for whom that comes naturally.
No, you can't. Sometimes the person who can help you the most with something is someone who's struggled with a particular, like sometimes we think, oh, the person who's the best at something is the best teacher. Not necessarily, because they didn't have to work really hard to do it.
Oh, intriguing, yeah.
And so it kind of challenges our whole education system and some of that sort of thing. Because
that's true, because you even see this in education, don't you? That people for whom the ways, the intelligence that allow you to be successful in school, reading, writing, following directions, staying in line, sticking with something for a certain period of time, those skill sets are really highly rewarded. And people who are good at that can sort of naturally move up that
sometimes it happens. But then other people sometimes, like I wasn't necessarily a good student. I actually had a hard time in school for a lot of reasons, but I worked in education in different ways, and I really enjoyed it and thought I was good at it, in part because school was hard for me. And things were hard, and I could have a lot of compassion and sometimes more empathy than some of my fellow educators who I thought were a bit kind of crusty.
Toward the person for whom that stuff didn't come so naturally.
Yeah, sometimes. And it's easy to have that happen in education, because you do sometimes have to deal with kids who aren't, for whatever reason, are giving you a hard time or giving themselves a hard time, and then it spills over. But yeah, I think that there's a balancing act that we all have to figure out, where we try to engage in the things that we're good at and contribute and share those things in the world, but also not be slackers. Like,
yeah, for sure.
You know, the world is better off if I try to work on my tiny bit of courage that I do have, because if I just withhold myself or remain aloof, then I can't engage in the things that I am good. So like the first time you needed help on the radio show, I was so scared that I couldn't even tell, because you were like, oh, only if you want to do it. And I was like, I have no idea if I want to do it, because I'm too scared. And it wasn't until I tried it. So if I would have been in my old mode, like probably a year ago, I would have said no. I'm almost certain I would have said no. Because I would have been too scared, and I would have thought that meant that I couldn't do it. And since I have been practicing these small,
practicing the act
invisible
of boldness,
courage that nobody else would know.
Yeah, and
I said yes, and I'm glad.
Yeah, I was just going to say something about that too, and now I've lost it.
I'm sorry.
No, I lost it. I started thinking about something else.
It happens.
It does.
Especially on radio.
Oh, really? It never happens to me on the radio. I always feel like I'm right there. I'm present.
Really? Are
yeah.
you joking?
Oh, no, totally. Yeah.
Oh.
No, I never lose.
I have to
rarely,
hang on
I was going
to
to say
stuff.
I've never
Sometimes
lost
I
my
have
train
like
of thought,
3 or 4 or 5 times, or things
oh, really?
that I have to hang on to just in case you might need them.
The other day I was chatting with someone, and they were telling this really big story, and they went on just a little tangent for a minute.
And then it was gone.
And then they're like, and this poor person was just so frustrated through the rest. I think we were having dinner together. They were so frustrated through the rest of the dinner. Like, what was that? Like they were just
welcome
stuck.
to my world.
They just couldn't get off of it.
You go down all these rabbit holes, and then you can't.
Yeah, and you can't get back out.
So you don't have that problem.
No, I rarely have that problem. I mean, right now I'm having that problem, but no, it's losing my train of thought, like that metaphor or something.
Yeah.
No, I don't. That's not a common.
Be thankful, because it's.
Yeah, because it's horrible. Like right now, I mean, I would never want that to happen. I never ever want that to happen again. I'm going to start writing things down or something. I'm going to carry a journal. I'm going to be one of those guys that carries a journal around and writes down the great ideas that I have. Well, I think you're bringing up just such an important point for people who realize that the kind of spirituality, the kind of life that they're going to live needs to have obviously one's strengths, but sometimes I think we make a false distinction between strengths and weaknesses. And what we really should be making the comparison between is fear and weakness. Yes. Because weaknesses, like not being good at something, is one dynamic. Being fearful is a different dynamic. And that's what, there's a Christian tradition that suggests that love drives out fear. Love doesn't drive out just hate. Like the opposite of love isn't always hate. The opposite of love is fear.
I think so.
And the opposite of fear is love, right? So that's an interesting way to take it. So when someone feels, a lack, when someone feels an emotion of fear, maybe the counterbalance to that isn't always confidence or strength. Maybe it's love. Or maybe there's something about love that is supposed to create enough safety. So I think when what you're describing is not just Victoria not knowing what her strengths and weaknesses are. You know what those are. It's not being dominated by the fear that goes with that weakness.
Yeah, because biologically, when we're fearful, we shift into our sympathetic nervous system. We're in flight, fight, or freeze mode. Our higher level thinking skills are shut down. Our gut shuts down, like all parts of our systems, because you got to run from the bear. Yeah. That's useful. If you don't want to take a dump if you're running from the bear, right? You got to get through the woods. Yeah. But if that making a phone call does that to you, that's no good. So, you're saying actually like the biological happenings of when you said your gut shuts down, you really mean like your digestive tract literally shuts down. Yes, when you're in that. So what is it about people going into bookstores and card stores where all of a sudden they have to go to the bathroom? You think that's because they just feel like all their inhibitions go away? Either that or because they do it right after. I bet it's true of a bunch of listeners here that they're like, oh, that happens to other people. I go into a bookstore or a card shop. You're like, where's the bathroom? I thought it was the smell of the paper. We were like, oh, we got to go find the bathroom. We got to go find the bathroom. Isn't that hilarious? Maybe it's not connected to the flight or fight or freeze or fight maybe response at all. Maybe it's just bookstores. Yeah, maybe it's. I thought it was the smell of the paper. Like the glue and the paper and all that kind of stuff. Like, because there's a disproportionate amount of somebody somewhere might have done a research study on that. Look, there are so many people doing PhDs right now. There's no question in my mind. Someone should send that to us over at Doug Pagitt, on the Doug Pagitt page on Facebook. The bookstore. Who are the people that are doing the research projects on such business? Yeah. Okay. Hey, Doug Pagitt Radio. And by the way, thank you to the folks at Spreaker. We broadcast this on Spreaker, and they did a nice little profile on the radio show on Spreaker. Yeah. They sent out a newsletter and everything, and there we were, the top one, spirituality and all the rest of it. We do talk about spirituality, and we talk about religion in new ways. And we're going to be joined here in a minute by Sarah Lefton. She works with Godcast, but there's no... So can she say God? I don't know. Let's ask her about that. Because they spell it G-DCAST.com. And so you can poke around there. And they have this new book out called The 5 E-Books of Moses. And the Jewish tradition has broken the all of what Christians call the Old Testament, what they call the Bible, into 55 segments, and they've made little video intros for each of these. And they've released this book, this version of the Bible that has these rabbis giving you an intro to each of these things. It's just terrific. It's really fun. So we're going to be joined by Sarah here in a minute, and then after that we're going to be joined by Ephraim Smith and his book, The Post-Black and Post-White Church. So stick with us here. If you're listening live on Spreaker, then you're going to refresh because we're gonna stop this segment and start the new one. If you're listening on a podcast, we'll roll the next one. Of course, if you're watching on Ustream, glad to have you aboard, and we're going to roll that over as well. So we'll be right back here on Doug Pagitt Radio, broadcasting live on the Twin Cities Friday edition of the show. Special.